This lesson's on Windows MovieMaker. Now, before we get started, I just want to talk about a few things. Here we can see a button called Show Storyboard, and when you click on it, you can go back to the timeline. Now, I prefer to work with the timeline initially, so I believe when you first turn on MovieMaker, it'll show this. Okay, so click on it so that you actually see your timeline. That's the first thing I'd recommend. The next thing I'd recommend is you probably know before you start how long your movie is going to be there and about. So if you think it's going to be about 2 minutes, then this is fine. If you think it's going to be more, then you're going to want to zoom out so that you can see more time. If you think it's only going to be 30 seconds, then I'd recommend you zoom in to about there. And that way you can see more of what it is you're working on without having to see a whole bunch of gray area for no reason. The other is we're going to start bringing in pictures that we've saved someplace. But before you do, I want you to know that you can come here and go to options, and from here you can specify what the default duration for each picture is going to be when you drag it into your storyboard. If you don't change this, it'll automatically be 5. If you know that you want the pictures to change quickly, like every second, you would want to do that now, because later to do each one of them manually can be a bit of a chore. So you might want to give that some thought as well before you get started. Now, having said that, I'm going to leave mine at 5. And now we're ready to start bringing in audio clips and perhaps pictures. You can also bring in movie clips. We're not going to do that for this demonstration. We're just going to bring in actual pictures. So, and we're going to bring in some audio clips. So I've got some audio clips and I've got some pictures. I know where they are. Okay, and because I just was working on it, it happened to be there. So this is working out fine for me. But you may have to look a little bit more for yours, because you'll have to go into wherever you have your audio files stored. So this could be a song, this could be any kind of narration. Mine happens to be a narration, so I'm going to import that. And if you had more than one that you wanted to bring in at a time, you would just use your control key and select the ones that you want. But for now, I only want that one clip. Alright, so there's my audio. And I can bring that in right away. So I'm just going to drag this down to here, to the audio part. And now it's telling me that this clip is about a minute long. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I could see, okay, my work area in a better way. So now I see the whole file. Now I'm going to bring in some pictures to fill in this whole thing. So again, I've got pictures already. If you don't have any pictures, you're going to want to find some pictures and save them onto your drive so that you can import them here. So I'm going to select all of these pictures because I'm not sure which ones I want. So I'm going to import all of them. Now, just because you've imported all of them doesn't mean you need to use all of them. Alright, so I've got all these pictures here. And now I can start just dragging and dropping them right in. And because I didn't change the setting, they're all going to be lasting about 5 seconds. Or exactly 5 seconds, sorry. Now, because this narration is about a computer course, I've selected, of course, pictures that have people in front of or near a computer. Now I've got it filled pretty much to the end. Now what I was hoping to do as well is maybe have a title to begin with and then a title at the end. So you're able to do that in this program. So here I'm going to go to Make Titles, and you have lots of choices. You can go between clips. Okay, so add. You can go on the clip. Okay, you can go at the beginning of the presentation, and you go at the end of it. So I'm going to put one at the beginning, and here you just type whatever it is you want to type. So here I'm promoting a course called BTA 3. That's 3.0, and then I'm just going to hit enter, and then we're going to call it computer and here it's giving me a preview. And you can also change the title animation, so you can animate this if you'd like. Which one did I like? I'm not going to spend too much time here. There we go. And then I can say done and add title to movie. So now that's going to start at the very beginning. And then, I don't really have a whole bunch of time, so I'm not going to add anything at the end like I wanted to, but you could. And now, in order to make this fit perfectly, so that the narration, if I wanted to, of course, I could manually resize these so that they take up a little bit less time. Just like that. So I'm clicking on the clip, and then I have the option of the double arrow. I can make that a little bit smaller, and I can do the same thing with the last one so that the clip ends at the same time. And then when you're ready to preview your movie, you would just hit play. Now, because I'm actually taping, I'm afraid my computer won't be able to handle both. Just trust that this will work very nicely, and that the voice that I have in the background will play, and the pictures will go from of course the title clip to the next one to the next one. Now, I'm now going to move to the storyboard, where I can put in some transitions, so that to go from this slide to this picture, I can have some kind of a transition. So when I want to see the transitions, I ask to view the transitions, and here are my choices. Lots of choices, so you can spend all kinds of time just checking out how you can go from one to another. And what they want you to do here is you simply click and drag how you want it to go from one to another. Now, I like consistent presentations or movies, so I would probably choose the same one all the way through. Okay, so now I've got transitions between here we go. I'm going to go back to timeline now. And you see what this did to my timing? Now all of a sudden, because I added those transitions, it seemed to have shortened the length of my presentation. So now I've got some extra time at the end, so I'd be able to put a title slide, or I'd be able to readjust these manually if I wanted to. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do that just for the sake of keeping this relatively brief. I want to talk about saving this. Now, you can save the project, and the project means all of the pictures, the sounds, whatever song or audio file you have in the background, all of your transitions. Now, saving the project doesn't give you a movie. It just saves the project. And when you try to run the project, it's not going to run. Ultimately, if you want to be able to show this anywhere, you need to save it as a movie file. Now, from here you have many choices, and you have to give it some thought as to how is it that I want this to run. Now, first of all, where do I want to save it to? Typically, you'll want to save a copy onto your computer, in my humble opinion anyway. Then, now make sure you keep track of where it is you're going to be saving this to. Choose the drive, the area where you always save things to. Alright, so in this case, I didn't want it to go on the C drive. I really want it to go on my M drive, which is where I put everything. And then you'll probably want to give it a better name than just movie, right? So here I'll call this one lesson. And then next, and now you've got some choices as far as quality. Okay, best quality for playback is probably not always the best choice, depending on how much room you have in your hard drive and where you want this thing to run. So you may want to choose other settings here and give some thought as to how and where do I want this to play. Now, on the internet, it's getting better and better to show streaming video. So typically I've been using this setting here. The quality isn't that bad, and at least it runs. And then you'll go next, of course, and now it's saving my movie file, and that's the file that will actually run in some kind of application such as Windows Media Player. Now when this is done, I should be able to go to my M drive and find lesson. Now it's asking if you want to play the movie when I finish. So sure, I'll click it and I'll see if my computer is able to handle both recording a video and showing a video.
Been handed in. But what about those students that have missed the class and missed that lesson? Well, those students now have to be taught, and the whole class has to suffer while being held back. This all will change when you walk into my grade 11 business class.
So there you go. That's basically what you need to know to get started in using Windows Movie Maker.